several South African and international companies have been named in the Zondo report as either victims or perpetrators of state capture. When that large-scale looting took place, many companies benefited from multi-million rand tenders with financial kickbacks as the order of the day. The recommendations of the inquiry are expected to shake up the South African business community and those that hold those who are responsible to account. For more reaction, let's bring in Black Business Council President Elias, who joins us now via our video link for his reflections on the state capture report's findings. Elias, it's great to have you on the program, sir. Thank you indeed for making time. And I guess there were no surprises, especially because we had all watched the inquiry as it took place. What has come out unequivocally is that, yes, there were individual actors, but a lot of the times, private entities in some instances were used as vehicles to carry out the state capture project. I guess the question now becomes, how should their peers respond to what we now know?
Good morning to the viewers of the channel and the country at large. I think from business point of view, we welcome the report, and this report is long overdue. I mean, we are talking about a 4 years program where the Commission have conducted and requested various extensions to various courts. But the second part, I guess, that we need then to look at is then the following, that there are a number of individuals and companies that have been pointed out as either one way or another they are active in the corrupt activities, and they've played a particular role, whether in the form of contracts, tenders, and so forth. And then I think we need then to look at various things. Firstly, we need then to look at law enforcement agencies. They need then to move with speed in dealing with the issues at hand, because evidence have been led by various individuals and entities. And the reason I'm saying they need then to move with speed is so that we then bring back business confidence in the country for investors, and to see that South Africa is an investment destiny in any form or shape. Secondly, in an event where we delay, and when I'm saying we, I'm referring to the law enforcement agency, if they were to delay in terms of charging people, prosecution, dealing with companies that they were found in the wrong in terms of either being blacklisted, a number of people facing jail terms, again, it then creates a major problem in terms of deepening that problem around investor confidence, because for any business entity, is required to look at investments confidence, to say, do they have confidence in the country or not? And hence I'm saying law enforcement agency, they need them to move with speed and agility in dealing with these matters.
Yeah.
And then again, one would then argue that why do we have to wait until July? As I mean, the president alluded to that fact when he received the report. Despite the fact that the evidence that were presented at the Zondo Commission, it was under oath, and surely one understands that the due process then need them to take place. And equally so, we need them to give those individuals the chance to let their evidence and present their cases in various courts upon those individuals and entities being charged, so that we then deal with the looting and the recovery of the assets and the monies that were utilized, including even a process for people that have left the country then to come back and face their day in court. So those are some of the things that I guess from business point of view, we're basically saying, one, we need them to move with speed. Two, we need not to waste time in terms of climbing down corruption, dealing with creating policy certainty in the country, dealing with investor confidence, and yes, of course, the resources that is required by law enforcement agents, we need also then to beef up them so that there is no issue around the competency and ability to deal with the execution, so that prosecution is then done at an early stage so that we don't have to spend another billions going back and forth. We don't have the time in terms of dragging and prolonging these matters further than what we went through for the past 4 years.
So that's the prognosis. What I'm trying to get to the bottom of is what level of culpability or responsibility or accountability takes place within business itself, given what has now emerged. I mean, for one, do you find it suspect that few, if any, businesses have come out to speak unequivocally against other entities who we now know were involved in dodgy dealing with certain government officials?
I think some of the concerns is the following. I mean, you have a situation where there are companies that they came out and paid whatever amount of money that they benefited unduly through the ESCOM tender process and so forth. But I don't think that is enough because we need them to move beyond holding those individuals accountable, including even, for example, blacklisting those companies so that they don't have to do business with government in any form or shape. And I think those are some of the things that we as business organizations or Apex business organization, we stand then to see individuals and companies, they need them to be held to account in that fashion. And I think it would then be incorrect, I guess, to move from a premise that we then look at a broad brush of issues. We need them to look at a differentiated approach so that, one, those companies, we hold them accountable, we deal with even the benefits, including even individuals facing jail terms. It's not only about the question of payment of the money back, but you need to see people being held to account. People need them to face jail terms in any form or shape. And I think the other part, again, is around dealing with various aspects where people have been marginalized for quite some time. Also, that's part of the issues that we need them to deal with as part of the revelation from this commission's report.
Right. Help us understand, Elias, if you can, I guess, make sense of the experience of many whistleblowers who've spoken out and the fact that many of them struggle to find employment. I mean, as the Black Business Council, what's your response to the plight of people who are now being lauded as heroes in the country, but ironically, despite their impressive credentials, are struggling to find work in South African business?
I think, firstly, let's look at the initial stage of the commission. I mean, we had a situation where there were black professionals in the form of either advocates and law firms that were appointed to assist the commission. And throughout the process, some of them, they were marginalized for whatever reasons, either as a result of delay in payment from the commission. And we've seen that trend where those individuals or law firms that are black-owned, they didn't play any role because of lack of payments from the commission itself. And I'm saying that's one aspect in terms of the marginalization of black professionals to that extent. And I guess one way or another, we need them to find a way of dealing with that aspect. Secondly, you then have a situation where there are black professionals that they were penalized and dealt with harshly as a result of not willing to cooperate with the corrupt activities across the state-owned enterprises. Then surely we need them also then to find a way of dealing with those individuals in a different form, because those individuals were taken out of the system because they're not being part of the corrupt activities. And I guess we need them to find a way of dealing with them, either in a form of a token of a compensation of some sort, because they were taken out. And equally so, we then have also a category of people that came forward in terms of whistleblowing. And we need also then to continue protecting those individuals because the process is now going to start in terms of law enforcement agencies dealing with the evidence, people being charged, appearing to various courts. So those are some of the things that we need to deal with in terms of A, protecting those individuals, B, dealing with the people that were marginalized throughout this process, 3, the individuals that, again, they didn't play any role in terms of not playing to the hands of the corrupt activities. In any form or shape, whether they're black or white, whatever, we need them to find a way in terms of assisting them to be employed going forward. So those are some of the issues that we need them to deal with. But I guess the message from our side is that, one, we need them to deal with corruption. And if a law enforcement agency, they're going to drag their feet for another 6 months or 5 months or so, basically we'll say justice delayed, justice denied. We need them to move with speed in terms of one, people being charged, people appearing to various courts, and we then deal with the evidence so that we then close this chapter, because the important aspect for business is to create a conducive environment for investors to do this thing, to invest in the country. And secondly, we need an environment where...
Yeah, apologies for coming in there. I think those points were already made and have come through loud and clear. We're going to have to leave it there, sadly, because of time. But I appreciate your reaction as the Black Business Council. Elias Monage is the president of the Black Business Council, responding there to ways through which private businesses, in some respects, were found to be either victims or perpetrators of the state capture project.